Hey guys, Ol Skip Flack here. Before this episode starts, I just wanted to share our thoughts on the whole OGL situation that has been plaguing the entire tabletop RPG community recently. Let me start off by saying this. We love Dungeons & Dragons. The game itself has been a part of our lives for so long, and we wouldn't even be here without it. That being said, we will not sit silently as the companies behind the game are attempting to change things that have been in place for 20 years, and by doing so, completely disrupting this lovely community that has grown around it. This is why I speak for everyone at Crithalla when we say that we fully support all third-party content creators, all TTRPG publishers and developers, and the entire tabletop RPG community as a whole during this time of uncertainty. If it wasn't for all these things existing in the first place, D&D and tabletop RPGs wouldn't have grown anywhere close to where they are today. There's been some great creations and documents coming from other publishers and developers because of all this, and we fully support those projects. We ask all of our listeners to support the community as well. Pick up a new system, try a new third-party book, or just voice your opinion on social media. At the time of this recording, there still isn't a concrete documentation for a new OGL, so it could get better, but it could get worse. Just know that no matter what happens, we should all stick together and support each other, because that's what this community has always been about. Stay strong, speak out, and let's open D&D. Thanks, and enjoy this episode of the Crithalla Podcast. Greetings, adventurers, and welcome back to the Crithalla Podcast. I am your host, Ol Skip Flack, and I'm joined by my lovely co-hosts here. We'll start with Sodop Stavi. Stavi, what's up, brother? How are you?
Hey, Dan, and what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Happy New Year. Happy 2023, y'all.
Yeah, man. First episode back in 2023.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, yeah.
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 It's a big day.
Yes, it is the first year back. Yes.
Yeah.
Who's that?
That other voice over there. Yeah, that's probably our other co-host, Cosmic Key. Mike, what's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm doing good. How's everybody doing? 2023, first year back, Happy New Year's and all that jazz.
God, we're moving so fast today.
I know.
Well,
right?
it's the first of the year. We gotta go.
Yeah, we got a lot of things to do. There's a lot to talk about. Oh my goodness. First episode back in 2023. Welcome back to the Crithalla Podcast, everybody. If this is your first time checking us out, first of all, thank you very much. But if you're new, this is the Crithalla Podcast. We run a show on here called DMs Discuss, where every episode we discuss a specific Dungeon Master question or topic. And today's episode is a very interesting one, a very creative one, you might say. But we have some big announcements. Big Crithalla Podcast announcements. Yes.
Huge announcements.
Yes.
Deep voice. Nah.
New year, new stuff, new content. First of all, to run off the list, we are officially starting a schedule. I don't know why we didn't do this to begin with, but we are starting a schedule, baby.
It's finally happening, guys.
It only took us a year.
Yeah. So tell us what that schedule is, Dan.
So yeah, we're going to be posting on the 1st of every month and the 15th of every month. Now, which is awesome, the reason why we're going to be posting every 2 weeks instead of just normally once a month like we normally do is because we are adding a second show.
What?
Yeah.
No one told me this.
Wait, I didn't tell you this?
I'm out. I'm gone.
This wasn't in the... I thought I put this in the email to you guys the other day.
What? What the hell's an email?
Oh, yeah, right. I thought I sent a raven to you guys. Anyway, yeah, we're starting a second show. It's going to be called Talking Tabletop. Stavi, do you want to explain the show?
Yeah, so guys, this is actually a really fun thing that we're going to be starting. Effectively, what's going to happen is this entire new show is going to be broken up into seasons, right? So there's going to be 4 seasons throughout the year. 3 episodes make up a single season, and during each season, Dan, Mike, and myself will each choose a tabletop RPG that either we have never played before, or we've heard of and wanted to play, or what have you. And we're just gonna talk about it. We're gonna review the rules. We're gonna go over like the interesting mechanics. Talk a little bit about the people who created it. And here's where it gets really interesting. At the end of every season, we are gonna have the community, everybody here who is listening to the Crithalla podcast. That means you. Yes, you.
Viewers like you.
Yep.
Thanks to viewers like you. If you're listening to this right now, take your index finger, point it at your face. That person.
That's you.
That's you.
If you're driving, pull over and do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Yeah. 10 and 2, please.
Yeah. 10 and 2.
Yes.
And wear your seatbelts, please.
Drive responsibly, everybody.
Crithalla Podcast approved.
So at the end of every season, we're going to put up a poll, and effectively you guys will be voting on which of the 3 games that have been presented that season by Mike, Dan, and myself we should purchase, and like maybe even do a review video on that we'll throw up on the YouTube, or even possibly, if we have the time for it, we'll try to make the time, may even do a one-shot of that system of your choosing. So if you're a fan of games like on Dungeon Crawl Classics or Morkborg or any of those like weird obscure games, we're going to be talking about them. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. It's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I feel like we need to broaden our little horizons of tabletop role-playing games. So I think this will be a lot of fun, and I think we'll get some more reach out to some different people and stuff like that. So I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, anything that we can do to spread the love of tabletop as a hobby to a wider audience of people who have otherwise may have never even heard of these rule sets or companies that manufacture and design these other games that aren't just D20 systems.
Yeah.
Because believe it or not, they exist. There are things out there that aren't just D20 systems.
That's true.
And they're a lot of fun. So I hope you guys enjoy what we have baking in the oven.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we got a schedule, 1st and the 15th, our new show, plus still DMs Discuss. And finally, I just want to give a huge shout out to my favorite game store and the Crithalla approved best game store in the entire world. I want to give a huge shout out to Red Seal Gaming in Matawan, New Jersey. They gave us a huge shout out at their store. Our very first branded promotion piece is over there.
There it is.
Yeah, I'll post
Right
a
there.
picture on the YouTube video version of the podcast. Red Seal Gaming is an awesome store. They have everything from Magic to D&D to X-Wing to a load of board games. They have an awesome community on Discord at the store. I've learned so many different games just by going to the store or talking to people on Discord. So check out Red Seal Gaming. Even if you're not from the area, check out their Discord. It's an awesome community. And thank you, Red Seal Gaming, for letting us put a little something about the Crithalla Podcast up at their store. Big appreciation from here.
Yeah, thanks guys. Really, that was really cool of you guys.
We're in the real world now, everybody.
Yeah.
The real world.
Crithalla in 3D.
In Technicolor.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, anyway, back to DMs Discuss. So yeah, today's topic... So today's topic is a very creative one, and if you don't know, we also have a YouTube channel that we also post a video version of the podcast over there on, and today's setting for this little topic is an island.
That's why there's this volleyball here.
Yeah.
With a bloody handprint on it.
Yeah.
His name is Walter.
Walter?
I named him Walter. He's got a cousin named Wilson, but apparently he's got a little bit of a drinking problem, so he didn't invite him.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So Walter's cool.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Yeah, he loaned me like 30 silver.
That's a damn shame.
Walter, do you have anything to say about this?
Walter just slides to the middle of the screen. He's just like, "Whoa, guys, welcome! You have reached the Island of the Misfit Homebrew Rules."
Woo! I'm picturing like Fifth Element, when they get on the cruise ship and he's like, "Welcome to Frosted Paradise." You know, it's Ruby Rod.
Yeah.
But it's like a volleyball.
Yeah, it's just one volleyball. Yes, today we are going to be talking about our favorite homebrew rules.
Yes, dude.
Yeah, something. We've all been seasoned players, and we kind of know our ropes around, Dungeons and Dragons and other tabletop games, and we've made our own rules here and there, and we're going to discuss them today. And I'm sure a lot of you listeners and stuff have made your own homebrew rules before, so it'd be awesome to hear some of your homebrew rules, either in the YouTube comments or maybe posting them up on our Facebook, messaging us or something like that. It'd be really awesome to hear from you guys. But yeah, let's start talking about some of our pretty cool homebrew rules. Who wants to go first?
I'll start us off.
All right, what do you got, Slick?
Yeah, Slick, yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, we get nicknames now? That's cool.
What do you want yours to be?
Surprise me when it's my turn. Surprise me when it's my turn.
All right.
Slick Wizard. Slick Rick. Slick Rick the Wizard.
Slick Rick.
Slick Rick.
Yeah.
So, you keep it up, you're going to have to do the whole podcast in that voice.
No, I don't want to do it.
That'll
yeah, that would. So yeah, let this episode be sort of like a forum for everybody to kind of come together and like talk about their own home rules that they use, even for other game systems. Just let's have this be a beginning of the year, season 2 of Crithalla, just like a big discussion, like a big forum of like what we like to do with systems to turn them into mutations of their former selves. That being said,
yeah. In a time of creativity means more than ever, I think that this is a discussion that's pretty good. It's pretty on par right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's start off with, now mind you, these home rules are some that I wrote a while ago and have since evolved because of different content coming out from Wizards of the Coast over the years that may have altered or changed some of these home rules that I was honestly unaware of because I didn't own the books. But my number one is, and people are going to hate me for this probably, but I have a home rule where the DM will roll the death saves for the player characters in secret.
See, I love that. That's so much fun.
It's so the amount of like stress that you can see physically on your players' faces when they hear the clinking of a D20 and they don't know if they passed or failed a death save. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing, and the reason why I do that is because, and people can't help it, right? They see data in front of them. They make decisions based on data that they can see. So when you're playing 5th edition and you have a player who is down and they're rolling their death saves, it's very easy for a player who has 2 passes and 1 fail to be like, "Oh no, I'm good. Go do whatever you're doing on your turn because, I like statistically will be able to survive at least another round or 2." In this way, a player will not know if you rolled a 20 and got 2 failed death saves, or a 1 and got 2 failed death saves, or a 20 and got 2 passes, or you rolled 3 dice and it was like 2 fails and 1 pass. Like, it forces the party to be like, "I don't know how badly he is dying. We need to do something."
Yeah.
and we need to do it now.
Exactly.
It creates like a more fluid and dynamic tension on the battlefield. So that is my first home rule, and that will be literally in every single tabletop game that I ever play that uses a death save mechanic.
No, that's so much fun. Because it is. It's so obvious when you're doing it yourself. It's like, okay, and then you start strategizing, or like you can tell your companions like, okay, yeah, I'm like 2 saves away to like being stable. It's like, no, this is a role playing game. Like you're your character right now. Like if you were actually like on the verge of death, You wouldn't be looking over at your buddy that's like fighting a guy and like, hey buddy, I'm like kind of like holding my hole in my chest together here. Let me just hold it a little tighter and hold on, I'll be back in the fight in a second. No, you're not gonna do that. So that's a fun way of doing it. Just be like, I don't know if I'm gonna die or not from this. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, that's like in second edition games or earlier role-playing D&D-ish games. You used to bleed out once you got to negatives.
Yeah.
Because it would be, you wouldn't die until you were -10, but once you got to, like, -1, you started bleeding out. But the thing is, you always saw that you were bleeding out. So you couldn't help but be like, yeah, I need help, but don't worry, I got at least 5 rounds before I'm going to start worrying.
Yeah.
So, but they wouldn't know that. They just see you unconscious bleeding out, so they should just rush to you no matter what you're saying out of game.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good one. Good start. That's a good one.
That's a great start.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I have an add-on to your bleeding out rule set there. I would have it so that way every round that you're bleeding out, you roll it, like the DM will maybe roll a d6 or something in secret, and that's how many hit points worth of blood they've lost that round. So it's possible they could die in 2 rounds from rolling really good, or it could literally take them 10 rounds if they keep rolling ones, but you never know. The uncertainty is what creates tension. It creates... It creates just like a very interesting dynamic, I think, amongst the players. Because then, like, if you have multiple people who are bleeding out, now you have to prioritize, like, well, shit, who do we save? You know, it's like that scenario of the guy standing on the railroad track and he could choose which track the train is going to go down, either, you know, 1 person or like 30.
Yeah.
Do you know, like, that moral dilemma? It's kind of like that. Like, do I save the cleric who is the reason why we're doing this quest to fight this evil god, or do I save our fighter who is the only reason why we have like a tank? You know, like,
yeah,
I have to make that decision now. Like, and I don't know that either of them are bleeding out or dying. Like, I don't know what their situation is. So
yeah, it all boils down to the scripters, like how the DM is describing how they look, and it gives the players, instead of just a combat economy, it gives them like a healing economy. If they're like, well, that guy, he said he's bleeding out, but he's looks okay. That guy's missing an arm. So maybe I should go over to that instead of just saying they're at -2 hit points.
Yeah, right.
yeah, so that's my first home rule.
Good start.
Yeah.
Very good start.
What about you, Mike?
Oh, no. I'm going to give him his nickname.
That's
yeah.
Yeah, I need a nickname.
We have
first.
nicknames, guys. It's a new year, so we have new names.
New nicknames.
Yeah.
So we have Slick Wizard.
Yeah, we got Slick.
Slick Rick.
All right there, Bump. What do you got?
Slurp.
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 Flurp. He does love flumps. So
He does have, yeah.
Was I adopted by Flumps or something?
Yeah.
Slump.
Slump.
You will call me by my given Flump name, thank you. Slurp, Flump, Flurp.
So you can pick any 5 of those and just go ahead.
I might go all of them. That's my full name and make you say it every time.
Oh my god!
I already don't remember half of them.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't even know where I am right now. But so my homebrew, I have one, and it's one that I came up with, especially in 5th, or any games where you could like roll with advantage and roll 2 die at once and take the highest. It's never come up because it's so rare. But when it does, it's going to be awesome. If someone's attacking one of my creatures or NPCs, and they attack with advantage, and they roll 2 20s, I will let them roll a third 20, and if they roll a natural 20 on that, they just kill the bad guy.
Ah, I like that.
Like I'll let them describe it. They just get like, it's like in the movies where like the bad guy's like, you can't stop me, and then you're just like, oh shit, and he just like stabs him in the throat or something. But
yeah,
it's never come up because it's really rare. Like,
well, that's like dumb hard.
yeah. In fact, and most of my players don't even know about it because it doesn't come up.
Yeah, right.
And I don't want them to be disappointed when it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But when it does, they're going to be like, what do you mean I roll a third 20? Why? And they're going to be like, what? It's been like this the whole time for all these years? I'm like, pretty much, yeah.
So you're telling me that even I, as a young, lowly level 1 wizard, back in the day, not now. I'm level 36 at least.
Yeah, at least.
At least. You're telling me that back in the day, I could have rolled 2d20 if I had advantage to attack a Tarrasque. I rolled a 20 on both, and then I rolled a third 20, and I killed a Tarrasque by myself as a level 1 wizard.
I would say yes, but in a situation like that, there'd be major repercussions. Like your magic just surged in a way that you're not even a wizard anymore after that. Like you're spent. All your potential is gone.
You lost
I get
your
teleported. No, my Arcana. I get teleported to the moon, and I just never come back. I rip my main character sheet.
Yeah. you literally completed what no wizard has ever completed before. You're done. Rip it up.
Like my character ascends to godhood and is mentioned in the lore of the story for like all eternity, but I can never play that character again.
That's just it. It's done now.
Yeah, well, you'd probably be max level after that first.
That's true.
Yeah, true.
So it's time to retire and tell the one story you have.
Yeah.
This one time in band camp.
Wait. Never mind. Don't tell the story. I love that. It's such a subtle little thing, and I love that your players don't even know about it. That's
it's
great.
never happened. It's never ever happened.
That's what makes it fun. Is when your players don't know about the thing. Like if it just happens to pop up. Yeah, like Mike was saying, like, what do you mean I roll a third D20? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
The funny thing is, it also has like a side benefit of it makes me anxious whenever my players roll with advantage. So it makes me more invested in I'm like, oh god. Oh, okay.
True. Yeah, that's like that I'm sure we told the story already, but there was that one magic item we had that one time, Stabby, when we were playing. And it was that if you rolled 100 on a percentile, you got a griffin.
Yeah,
it's like that 1 in 100 shot, and it actually happened.
Actually happened.
That's
Chris
a story
you
never. Yeah, and that's a story you will literally just never forget because it's just the craziest thing in the world.
Yeah, man. And then you guys just had this like magical griffin as
a whole ass griffin,
like a completely loyal pet and mount that just sat in the like the I don't know what it was. It was sort of like you fashioned like the roof of the Red Brand old manor from the Fandalen or Fandelver or whatever the hell it was starter thing. Yeah.
I like how you're like a whole ass griffin. Like, how shitty would it be if you rolled 100 and you got half a griffin? He's like, kill me!
Yeah,
just
half of a griffin.
or like a pygmy
spell
griffin
didn't work.
It's like the size of a poodle.
Yeah.
Or it's just some guy named Zachary Griffin. He's like, hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up? I'm Zach.
This wasn't what I wanted at all.
But you got a whole Zach Griffin.
Hey, what's up? My name's Zach. Zach Griffin.
Zach Griffin.
I just moved here last week.
Yeah. I'm an out of towner.
I'm not from here.
I could borrow my dad's car every Tuesday.
Yeah.
Good first rule. Very nice.
All right, now we need a nickname for you, Dan.
Oh, I don't want one.
You don't want one?
No, you get one.
What? What is it?
I'm like, Stavi got a wrestler. I'm a Cthulhu creature, it seems. Yeah. So I got a lot of comments in my name.
Speak my name, and it's just
slurp flump flurp flump flurp.
And I was like, you just got a whole slurp flump flimp flump, buddy.
Captain Cannoli.
Captain Cannoli? Is that my nickname?
You sound delicious.
No, that's not my nickname.
Captain Cannoli? No? Okay.
Is that really?
Oh.
No, I'll take it.
But he sounds delicious.
What about like Petey Pizza? Like Petey.
That sounds delicious too.
What knockoff 1985 cartoon am I in? What the hell's going on here?
Welcome back to Saturday morning cartoons with Petey Pizza and Captain Cannoli. What is this?
Today, he meets his idol, Captain Cannoli.
I like Captain. I'm keeping that Captain Cannoli. I'm a big fan of that.
Captain Cannoli. Okay,
I'll take that.
All right, Captain Cannoli.
Yeah. So homebrew rules, right? I'll start off with a pretty easy one. Currency, right?
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, currency in Dungeons and Dragons specifically is very interesting. Back in my day, considering I'm probably my youngest moments of MMORPGs was like RuneScape. Gold, silver, and like copper I always thought were currencies. Like between World of Warcraft and RuneScape, it was just like gold, silver, and copper. Right?
Yeah, it just makes sense.
It's just the three currencies. It just makes sense.
Right.
So and then I jump into D&D for the very first time in 5th edition, and it was platinum, then it was gold, then electrum.
Yeah.
What the hell is that? And then silver and copper. And I was like, why does there have to be so many? I mean, platinum sounds cool, right? Like,
Sure.
that sounds like a prestigious currency. Like, if you got something that was worth platinum, like, that's huge. Like,
You're a billionaire.
That's a big
You're
deal.
a medieval Jeff Bezos with a platinum.
Right. And then, like, copper's like a funny little thing. And then silver's like, okay, maybe that's a beer. And then gold's like, okay, yeah, maybe a night's stay or something like that. But electrum, I just never understood. And it's funny, I always never understood it, and then before this podcast, I just decided to look it up.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently the rest of the D&D community never really understood it either.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, apparently it's this funny currency that no one ever really understood. Like, why is there an in-between silver and gold? It makes no sense. So, I'm going to steal kind of from you and me. I think we all kind of collectively made this one back in the day, but one of our players, he might have been the DM. I don't remember. He might have been the DM at the time. I'm not sure. But one of our players was Eddie. And we used to call Electrum Eddie points.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Eddie points.
You could call whatever you want, but essentially we were like, Electrum sounds silly. I think it is kind of silly. So let's kind of change it up. So we made Electrum this kind of interesting currency where we didn't just omit it, but we made it into this like underground currency. So like you would always get copper, silver, gold, and very occasionally platinum. But to get Electrum was actually the most rare out of our entire campaign. We called it like underground currency, where you'd have to go into the deep depths of like sewers or like the nitty gritty underground. And like you could trade that for like nasty equipment or like body parts, like something crazy like that. And we turned this like silly mid-range currency into like this like kind of cool role-playing aspect currency. So yeah, Electrum as like underground currency was always a really cool homebrew rule that we had back in the day. But just in general, I think like copper, silver, and gold should just really be the currency.
Yeah, that's really kind of the standard.
You guys just made fantasy crypto.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
Holy shit. Yeah, we really did, dude.
It's like, you need to buy an assassin? Use Electrum. You need to, like, get a poison dagger? Electrum.
Whoa, dude, that's crazy.
Ethereum,
Electrum.
It all kind of makes sense.
Dude, we were ahead of the game like 10 years ago. Like, we knew about this.
Why did we never think of this?
I don't know, man.
Instead, I invested in Dogecoin.
Right, I still have like 1,000 or something. But yeah, no, the Eddie points were cool because like I don't think we ever came up with a lore of how it was named Eddie. I think we just said, "Oh, Eddie, we're gonna name it after you." Yeah. But I feel like now, like thinking about it retroactively, there should have been like this, like legendary rogue named named like Edward. Yes, yeah, Edward something or another, and. So yeah, there's like this maybe we never even described what it looked like. I don't think because I don't think it wasn't like a metal. It wasn't like an alloy. It could have been something as simple as like a paper stamp or some kind of a mark. Yeah, something that could not be forged.
NFTs.
NFTs,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah, no, each one is individually numbered with like a blockchain, and you go down into the underbelly of Waterdeep, and you're like, I would like to trade 3 whole Eddie points.
Yeah, the whole thing.
The whole thing, not like 0.06222242. I want like the whole. What can you get me for this?
Yeah.
And then a guy comes out with like an armor-plated crab mech, and you're like, yeah, that'll do.
Yeah. That's for our tinkerer back there.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just
for you,
staring
Mike.
wide-eyed, and I'm just like, I need to get Electro.
You better start investing
Must
now,
get
bro.
Eddie points.
Yeah.
Now's the time, bro.
Now's
You
the
gotta
time.
start. You gotta start investing them Eddie points now, bro. It's about to take off.
But yeah, I think it was actually so rare. I think we only ever used it once, maybe twice. Like that's how,
Maybe.
like it turned into this like funny little currency into like this is extremely important, and if you obtain one of these, it's insane. Like
Right.
I thought that was just a really cool aspect. So yeah, current messing around with currency is always fun. Even homebrewing your own currency for just like your own campaign is really fun too.
Mhm.
So yeah, currency homebrews. Let's go. Okay, I'm done. Stavi, your turn.
Well, that sounds fun. I don't know if I have. Well, so I do have something that is sort of like a it's sort of like a currency, kind of. It's not something that you spend in game necessarily for in-game purposes, like your character, but it is a currency that you can use as a player. So what I have done, and it has worked for me, is I completely remove the inspiration rule. And I substitute it with what I call luck points, but you could call it whatever you want. It could be like fate points, if your person's not necessarily lucky. It could be whatever you want to call it. In my rule set, it's capped out at 7. You can't go higher than 7. It can be spent at a 1-to-1 ratio to influence their rolls on ability checks, skill checks, and even attack rolls, but not damage. But it must be used before you roll the dice. It must be used before you roll the dice. So you have like this small economy. I know it adds a little bit of bloat to the game. And you're already super powerful in 5th edition, so it doesn't really matter anyway. But like, I can't even begin to tell you how many times like I've rolled for something. I'm like, oh yeah, I got this. I have like a +6 in this skill that I'm proficient in. And like, I rolled and I needed one more
Oh yeah.
to actually like pass that check. And I'm
Classic.
like, shit, dude. Like this, like statistically, this was in my favor. And sometimes you just got to roll with the dice anyway and accept the outcome. But like,
Yeah.
if you want a little bit more granularity and be like, oh, I have like 3 fate dice, I'll use all 3 of them.
Yeah.
And then you don't get them back again. Like I haven't really figured out how you would get them back. I kind of just gave it to people as you would for inspiration. Like if they role played their character very well, I'd be like, hey, you got another fate point back. Or if you did a good deed in the world, you would get a fate point. Like if you saved an orphanage from burning down or saved a farm from being raided or, did whatever, you would get a fate point as part of your quest rewards.
That's pretty cool. I like that. Like it's similar to inspiration, but it's different enough where you could definitely make it like your own homebrew, completely different thing. I like that. That's pretty
maybe
cool.
like if you leaned your character into their alignment, for example. So like if you were, I don't know, let's say you were doing an evil campaign and all of your characters like really, because there is some nuance to neutral, lawful, and chaotic evil. There is nuances to it. Somebody who is chaotic evil will not act the same way as somebody who is lawful evil.
No, definitely not.
Definitely not. Like they're still bad guys. They're still dickheads, but they're dickheads for very different reasons, and they go about it very differently. So like, if you're able to lean into your alignment a little bit better, hey, guess what? You get a fate point because like you're role playing your character very well.
Yeah.
And then you could use that to affect your roles in the future.
Yeah. No, I do. I like that. That's really fun. I like how it's before. I like that.
Yeah, no, you have to absolutely commit to it. And if you do use it and you didn't need it, like you passed it anyway, tough. You spent that currency.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Right.
Yeah, because inspiration is just like, oh crap. All right, fine. I'll just use that. It's kind of like a saving grace.
it's a safety net, and D&D 5th edition has way too many safety nets as it is. So, like, this is also arguably a safety net, but it's a safety net where you have to like think ahead of time. Like, should I use it now before I make this roll?
Yeah, that's cool. I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Good job, Slick.
Oh, hey, thanks, Slurp, Flurp, Flump, Flurp,
Flump, flump, flim, flump, flim,
Flump, Flump, Slump.
fluffling, flump, flump.
Oh, wow. You're saying my full name. I feel like my parents are talking to me now.
Yeah. I feel like I summoned you or something by doing that. That was weird.
You did. That's how you got me on the show.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You both took out a book and said, "How do you pronounce this?" And I was like, "Hey, everybody!"
And I brought my gumbo.
I brought a gumbo.
And I brought a gumbo.
By the way, before we continue, can I just say that I hate this island? I like this island sucks. The sun sucks.
Yeah. Well, I've never been a fan of the sun, so it's terrible.
I have sand in my robes, dude.
Oh, God's fear of annihilation, run!
Oh God. With the robes again, Jesus.
Have you ever had sand in your robes?
No, I don't wear robes.
Do you know what this feels like?
No.
It feels like I'm wrapped in a blanket of sandpaper. I am chafing in places that don't even come in contact with my robes.
Why don't you just shake it out?
No.
Well, why?
It's just us on the island. It's just us on the island. Take your robes off.
Yeah, you could just do that.
But Walter's watching.
Oh God, look at him. He's like making that weird. He's making a weird face too. Like he wants it.
He's like smiling menacingly.
Oh no! All right, keep it on. Just pretend.
The fact that he's a volleyball with the handprint, I keep thinking it's the volleyball that Saruman uses, and he just like put his handprint on it so the Uruks could play volleyball.
Oh, like the white hand of Sauron, or
yeah.
Oh my.
I was like, when did Saruman use a volleyball?
It's just in my head.
I don't remember that extended edition scene where the Uruks are playing.
I didn't watch the deleted.
You know how the orcs were made? They were tortured elves because they lost the volleyball championship.
Oh my God. Everything I know about the Silmarillion is a lie, dude. Morgoth tainted the elves because they lost a volleyball game. That's canon now. Christopher Tolkien, get screwed, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were too heavy. They couldn't do the spikes and stuff. It was horrible. They were beat by elves all the time.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Oh my God, dude.
Elves don't even sink in the sand. That's like a horrible advantage.
True.
I can't stop thinking about these nasty Uruks playing volleyball.
Yeah.
Like a beach episode, but with orcs, you know?
I mean, you could try to make it cute. What's that extreme volleyball game for the the PS2? Where they're all super sexy.
No, that was for the original. That was
the
Dead or Alive.
volleyball.
Dead or Alive.
Yeah, Dead or Alive. Yeah, the fighting game. Yeah.
Just super sexy orcs.
Nice.
No,
dude.
I used to play that, and every time they did a serve, they would say the other people's names in a cute way. But how do you do that with Uruk-hai? It would be like, Urks! It's not going to be the same. It's Urks!
Yeah. Ratbag!
Yeah.
Ratbag! Man flesh skinner! It doesn't...
Grimosh!
Okay.
I'm coming at you, Flip Knock. I'm sorry.
Orcs in chainmail bikinis, dude.
All right, get the fan fiction going, everybody. I want to see some art. So,
oh God.
All
right.
I don't know. Now I'm just picturing Gollum as the ref. There's a lot of weird images going on in my head. So, but he's rooting for both teams simultaneously. But
you're the one. No, you're the one. No, you're the one. No, you're the one.
The ball was in. The ball was out, Precious. No, it wasn't.
The ball was out.
No, the ball was in.
It was in. Wow, that was really good.
That was good. Oh man, they really added a lot of stuff to the extended of those movies. So,
yeah, seriously.
The whole volleyball scene. Whew.
My God.
Yeah, dude, remember that part in the Two Towers where like everybody just stopped the war and played volleyball for like three days?
Yeah,
Remember?
like that was really cool.
That was cool, man. Yeah,
That was really sick.
Yeah.
that was sick, bro.
Really rode home the lore.
The humans only won because Gimli's like, toss me! And they spiked him, and the orcs were like, is that a dwarf? And he's like,
Oh,
2 points.
shit. That's
Right.
true.
That
Yeah.
I remember that scene, yeah, where they spiked the dwarf.
Yeah.
You all are very welcome. You should have read from that book and summoned me, because this is what happens.
Oh my God. Okay, look, we gotta stop.
Okay, bringing it around. All right. Well, okay. Back to the topic. Slick and Captain Cannoli. So, I personally like using reputation in games, even if the game doesn't have any rule mechanics for it. So, if you do a certain, I'm using it. I told Dan I'm using it in Spelljammer now. When you do missions for factions like Thieves Guild, Wizard Guild, this Artificer, if they have enough of a presence, they're basically now a faction, and you basically get bonuses or minuses to interact with anyone that's allied with them.
Oh, that's cool.
So if you need information and you're like, oh, we can go to, the Lady Krakenthorpe, someone from my Spelljammer game, and you guys are on the outs with her, it would be harder to get her to do something for you. Or she might make you do something for her to, like, out of game, get the reputation a little bit up so you can get the information. So it's just a way that the player's success or failure dictates how much they could actually get out of the NPCs. So they can't just be like, even though we failed and, your daughter died en route, why don't you tell us where the vibranium is? Like, no, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And since there's a mechanic for it, it's not just me being like an ass, going like, I just don't want you to have the information. I'll be like, you guys are at -8 with them. Like the DC is like 28 to get to persuade them. You guys better start, doing stuff for them.
Yeah, no,
Oh.
I love that, and I hate to harken back again to World of Warcraft, but that reminds me a lot of like the faction system of World of Warcraft, where like you can only do certain things if your if your reputation with the faction continues and continues.
Mm-hmm.
I really do love that. Now, is that more just a straight up like for a fact you won't be able to do certain things with them, or does it actually give you role advantages or like disadvantages?
Basically, I tailor it depending on the system.
Okay.
So it's different for every system because every system is different, the way the rules work. So for 5th edition, it's basically, it wouldn't be going against their insight or anything like that to persuade them or deceive them or do stuff like that, or to get something out of them. There's a standard DC that raises or lowers depending on if you do the mission or go above and beyond. So it'll be easier or more difficult to deal with them. So it'll almost be like a target number you have to reach. It's not them doing it, so they could just be dumb. They just don't trust you because you failed 3 times.
That's cool.
So it's a way to work that in. And also, if you do missions with another entity that's in opposition to them, that's a rival, that will raise the DC as well.
Yeah.
So you have to pick and choose who you want to work with, see if they're simpatico, make sure the other people don't find out. It just gives the players something more to think about, who they want to side with, and who they want to basically, who they want to give their support to. Because if you fail, if you succeed, it's going to make them rise up in status or low in status, so it'll all balance out. So it's more than just fight the monster, do the adventure. There's like I don't want to say political, but there's like a social like aspect to the world that the players can dictate via their actions.
I really like that. I really do. I feel like I don't give my players enough choice like that. That's pretty cool.
Having a dynamic faction system where like their influence in the world itself that you're creating is either booned or baned based on how the players like interact with that world is really, really cool. Going back to what you were saying with World of Warcraft, Dan, like I remember grinding away to get rep. Just so that way I can get tabards.
Yeah.
Because I was a transmog whore for like the longest time. So like I would only do just enough to get like the highest tier like tabards. I wouldn't really care about anything else. But WoW is different from a tabletop game, right?
Oh yeah.
Like WoW expects you to pour in hundreds, if not thousands of hours a year into that system. Tabletop RPGs though, like that's kind of cool. Like, so how would you quantify so let's say for D&D 5th edition, right? If you have neither positive nor negative influence with a particular faction, would it be just like the DC is 10 and then it goes up 1 or 2 or down 1 or 2 or 3 depending on how critically they failed or passed whatever mission they're in?
Pretty much, yeah. And then it'll also, even the way you socially interact with them. So even like just social interactions will have consequences. Like if like, there's players that are just flippant to NPCs, they just don't care.
Right.
So I might even have like sort of like 2 difficulties. Like it'll be higher if this person's with you talking to them. So you actually have to role play, look, this person does not like you. You need to stay outside.
Right.
Like that aspect, like you see in like movies and TV shows, especially ones where the group is like mercenary themed. They have to be like, look, they don't like you ever since the time you shot their horse and you apologize, but then you started eating it. So no, when you're not going in, and we need this mission, so we don't know you, so stay outside.
Right. Or if like the faction is particularly racist towards like Dragonborn or something, you're like, listen, they don't like Dragonborn. Okay, they stay out here, just hang out, stay out of sight. We'll be back in like 10 minutes, and then we'll go. And then that gives the player that's separated from the party to kind of like faff around and do whatever outside. Maybe a random event of a passerby, walks by like whatever building, and then it turns into like another quest that this player potentially picks up for the group.
Yeah, or a different faction knows of their inclination against Dragonborn, so they specifically seek out that member of the group to get the group as a whole to do missions for them against the other faction. So, because like I mean, I like combat as much as the next person, but I really like the social interaction of role playing. I want to see people try to play with the NPCs I come up with back and forth. I like coming up with more. I like the interaction and stuff like that. So anything to make that more of a game, but not gamey, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
Like I try to like do that as much as possible.
Yeah, no, I love that too.
I really love that. Yeah.
Yeah. I love getting into that. And that's such a cool and unique way to really get your players to get invested into your world.
Mm-hmm. It also give you allies.
Yeah.
So.
And it could also give you enemies.
It could also unlock resources that you wouldn't have access to previously. Like maybe you increase your faction rating with like a Thieves Guild or like an Assassin's Guild, and now you have readily accessible poison vials that you otherwise would not have access to.
Yeah.
Or maybe particular contracts or services like being able to fence stolen goods, or in a cleric, maybe you have now the ability at really high level faction rating with a particular church to actually resurrect dead players.
Yeah.
Like that sort of thing.
And then also like in the example with the Thieves Guild or an Assassin Guild or any kind of like shady guild, maybe they would be less willing to take a mission against the group if your reputation with them is high enough. They'd be like, no, they're allies of ours, and we're not going to take this mission. But if your stuff is low, they'd be like, yeah, we'll take it, and we'll take it for half price. Like, so...
Especially like an Assassin Guild, if like some wealthy lord is like, these adventurers have been poking around too much in my affairs, like, I will give you X amount to get rid of them, and then they're like, no. Or they're like, yeah, we'll take the gold, and then they tell you that this guy's trying to kill you, and they split the gold with you or whatever.
Yeah.
there's so many possibilities for like really cool role playing with that kind of a system, and I absolutely love that. If we ever make our own tabletop RPG system, I really want to include this.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, stuff like that, and like other stats. Like, yeah, we'll get into that eventually. But yeah, there's a lot of the stats should be, and the mechanics should be geared towards role playing like at all times for me. I don't like when there's just a stat for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Agreed.
everything should have its place and its purpose.
Exactly.
Well, Captain Cannoli, you're up.
Oh, geez. Yours was so interesting and detailed and so cool. I'm gonna break it down to the basics, but I'm gonna break it down to the basics, but I actually really want to get your guys' opinion on certain things, which could be an interesting discussion. What I was originally gonna say was components and ammo. Now,
Okay.
getting into this, so my players play in my game once a month, sometimes once every 2 months, right? So when I think of certain things such as ammo, components, things that you need to replenish,
Mm-hmm.
I know in the rules it obviously states that you need to replenish those types of components and stuff like that, and you need to go to shops and you need to purchase it with gold and stuff like that. I have always been the kind of DM to say, I don't like it. I don't really like the system all that much. I think it's a little ridiculous. I think if you were to tell me that the next time, obviously keep track of things like ammo. I think that is important. Because if you do run out of ammo, you do run out of ammo. That's
Sure.
definitely true. But in terms of replenishing, if you go to a village or a town or some type of place that could sell those things, and you tell me that you just go to a place and do it, I'm just going to allow it. Just replenish to your max. Give me, I'll tell you how much gold you got to spend, and that's it, and just be done with that. I always thought components were silly. And I don't know. I know, Stavi, I know you specifically, you really like tracking things like that. I know that's
I
like a
really
big
do.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I totally get that. Now, if I was playing a weekly game where I was consistently viewing my players' items and keeping track of really what they have, because I mean I've been running my campaign for a year and a half now. I don't remember what the hell, and again I only run once a month, so I don't remember what the hell everybody has and all that. And going month to month to month, that makes it even worse. So if you tell me I ran out of this or that or the other thing, and you just tell me you replenish, give me a couple silver, give me a couple gold, capiche, all good.
Hey, capiche.
But
Captain Cannoli.
Oh, no,
But
that's a very good system.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's easy. I think it's very just do it, be done with it, so we can go back to what we're doing in the game. You know, if we're only playing for 7-8 hours a month, like
A month, right?
yeah, for one session, like let's not worry about the nitty gritty. Let's just get to the core.
So, being the person who loves to track this shit, I will say, like, in that instance, that absolutely makes sense to just do that, right?
Yeah,
I would say for anybody who plays more regularly, who wants to track people's information and what they have component-wise or ammo-wise, have the player characters. Now, this only really works if you're playing in person, but have the player characters hand back in their character sheets at the end of every session to the DM. Kind of like, because then the players can't adjust anything and the DM always knows what they have. And it would be the DM's job to kind of just flip through their inventory, flip through their health, and just like be like, okay, everything matches. Like,
yeah,
you don't want to be a DM and then one session your players are poor, and then the next session one of your guys has like 40 gold or 50 gold. It's like, where did that come from?
yeah,
Or it was a miscalculation. Not saying anybody was going to, lie and cheat, but like maybe they put the wrong thing in the wrong place, and the same thing could happen to components. There is a time and place for components. I think more granular, slower paced, old school tabletop RPGs definitely call for that sort of granularity where you have to keep track of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
5th edition is very arcadey. It's a very like sort of arcadey tabletop RPG. It's like if you were to compare like Daggerfall or even Morrowind to like Skyrim. You know, it's
fair.
It's like Skyrim is super accessible and super easy for anybody to hop in and start leveling up their skills and being whatever they want to be because the system allows for it. And 5th edition is kind of the same way. Whereas with like, especially in Daggerfall, you have to be aware of what you're leveling and what your how you're building your character and what components you have on you and all that stuff. So, but the gameplay was a lot slower. It was a lot more methodical and dangerous. And yeah, 5th edition, screw it. Who cares? If you go into a town, you go into a city or a metropolis or something like that, and you're like, I'm going to spend the next like 1d4 hours or 1d8 hours searching at apothecaries and like trader and merchant guilds and all this stuff to find the things that I need. Yeah, sure, whatever. I agree. Yeah. That's a good compromise.
Yeah. Mike, what about you? Because I know in our Spelljammer game, we have the one artificer who is always like, hey, do you mind if I go to these stores and like ask for supplies? And you're like, yeah, go ahead.
Well, it's personally, like for me, if ammo or components or supplies of any sort are used to power your abilities that you get from your class or what you've chosen to be, I like just doing those narratively. I don't want to add like an extra burden onto the players. That being said, I would always be like, are you resupplying? Are you policing your ammo? Are you going, if you're a druid, are you going for herbs? If they've never said that in a game, but think they're going to take out their herbal kit to heal someone, I was like, you haven't touched a root in 3 months.
Yeah.
You don't have it.
That's totally fair.
Like, if like for me, if you live by the narration, you die by the narration. If you didn't tell me you're doing it, you didn't do it. I'm not going, well, on autopilot. No, just tell me if it's stored. And then like, if like all your stuff can be taken away, and also within reason. If someone hasn't went and like fletched more arrows in like 7 months, I'll be like, how many arrows you have in your quiver that holds 12? Like you're like at like it's basically if it doesn't feel right, then I'll start policing it harder. But like other than that, like you've been good with doing your ammo, saying like I get more ammo or like I collect ammo.
Yeah.
And like as long as there's a narrative cinematic like cutscene of you taking care of the stuff you need to be the thing you are, I'm fine. But if no one does that, if no one like sharpens their knives, that's why even when I play with you, you see I'm like going through my book constantly. I'm writing stuff. I'm like adding like put like little sticky things that come out. Like I'm always tinkering. Like it's to show that I'm doing my skills. I'm doing what makes me a tinker gnome. I'm doing what makes me a wizard. I'm not just going to be like, I'm here, everybody, fireball, fireball, fireball.
Exactly.
Like I'm doing what I need to do to be the person I am.
Yeah.
I will say that level of involvement also varies on the skill level of the player, because there may be people who are literally just new to D&D who are still trying to wrap their whole heads around the entire concept of tabletop role-playing game.
True.
And they may not think, oh, shit, was I supposed to, like, refill this? Like, how does that work? Some concessions need to be made for newer players.
Oh, case by case.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
But there also needs to be consequences, too. Like, nobody's saying you should be seeking to go out and punish your players for the sake of being malicious and punishing them. But, like, a good... You know when you were a kid and your parents were like, don't touch the stove, it's hot. And then you touch the stove and you're like, fuck, that's hot. I'm never touching that again. Like, you kind of need sort of like that slap in the ass almost of, like... Like, I did not do the thing, and now I know what happens if I don't, so now I'll remember to always do the thing.
Yeah, exactly. And thankfully, I don't really have players that really use components or ammo anyway. There is one player that every once in a while uses either maybe an arrow or a thrown weapon, but she always... she's good. She's a newer player, but she always remembers to say, I go and collect what I thrown.
Oh.
I collect my arrow. And that alone is like, okay, that's fine. Yeah, you collect.
Yeah.
Or if you roll the 1, I will keep that in mind. That probably broke, or the arrowhead stayed into that body, like that you're not getting that out. Like,
Sure.
but yeah, no, that's good enough for me. Like, you collected your resources. Like, that makes sense to me.
Mhm.
You know?
If you would do it in a video game, if you know to do it in a video game, you should know to do it on a tabletop.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you played Skyrim and you fired a bunch of arrows at like a bear and you ran over and you went to harvest the bear for the fur to make leather armor or whatever, you would look around on the ground for your arrows that missed.
Yeah, exactly.
Apply that same mentality in a tabletop RPG because it's very much the same way in a lot of ways.
And also, the narrative could dictate a dwindling of resources. Like, if the story is, like, the group traveling in a tundra or in, like, a desert or, like, a deep forest or something like that, and the whole point of these few games is endurance, is traveling from point A to point B, and with dwindling resources, then story-wise and narrative-wise, you would actually start saying, you're running out of ammo. Like, you would start saying it, like your components are dwindling and you can't find guano anywhere, you're in the desert. So you can't really cast your fireball right now.
Yeah. I was doing that for our old school Essentials game when you guys were traveling around in the Keep on the Borderlands, like out in the wild. You have to replenish your water. You have to drink.
Mhm.
You just have to. Otherwise, you face exhaustion. And in an old school system like that, where like you have a single level of exhaustion could kill your character so goddamn fast because of the negatives that it implies. That's another resource. Like, even torches. Everybody has like dark vision now, which is kind of annoying because the whole concept of being like deep and dark in a dungeon kind of doesn't really apply to anybody anymore. I mean, you don't see in color with dark vision at all. You just see spectrums of like gray and black.
It's also not that far either.
It's 60 feet, but
yeah, it's not like as far as like you could. It's not your normal sight though.
No, it's not. It's not your normal sight, but
it's like a flashlight. You have a black and white flashlight.
Yeah, more or less. It's kind of like if you've ever seen the night vision, like the phosphorus night vision goggles that have like the black and the white.
Oh yeah,
kind of thing. That's what I assume it kind of looks like, more than like actual like colored night vision or whatever. But
yeah, my groups usually hate how I do dark vision because I always make the eyes adjust. So if like the party has dark vision and they're using it primarily, but then like an enemy flints like a torch, like everyone's going to be at disadvantage for like a round or two because their eyes adjusted to dark vision.
Oh, that's
and
fun.
Their eyes can't immediately switch over. Like your eyes have to adjust. You don't automatically shut the light off and now everything's gray. Your eyes have to settle into the darkness.
Is that a rule in the rule book?
No, it's just what I do.
Oh, that's a really cool house rule though, because you know that everybody is playing some kind of anthropomorphic like thing or another that can see in the dark and fly and climb walls and face step and do all this other crazy nonsensical bullshit.
There's even all the human variants that have come out recently. They all have freaking dark vision nowadays too.
Oh my god! Then what is even the point, dude?
I know.
I primarily I primarily do that because of horror movies. Because whenever there's a creature of darkness, you like light something really, then they're like and you could like get away. So if it works for them, it works for you if you have magical eyes.
Yeah, if I ever run a 5th edition game again and my players are all of like these super magical like snowflake type characters that have like all these really cool unique things about them, which is cool. I definitely promote players to have like creative outlets for their character designs. But mechanically speaking, I absolutely would throw them in like a dark cave and then fucking have like a miniature sun or like a nuclear warhead go off that just melts their eyeballs out of their heads.
Yeah.
They'd be like, yeah, good luck now, fuckers, with your night vision.
Well, quick recommendation actually for the explanation of dark vision. Check out XP to level 3's explanation on dark vision. He goes in depth on like what it would actually be like to have dark vision in real life. And once you get done with that video, it's like, wow, dark vision actually kind of sucks. Like, it sounds good as an idea, but when you actually break it down, it sucks. It's
XP
not
to
great.
level 3 is awesome.
Yeah.
He
does do a lot of good content.
I love all of their content. It's so fucking fun. Their wizard is kind of where I based my character off of, the one who just wants to cast
I can see
fireball
that.
everywhere.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I love XP level 3's Lord of the Rings stuff.
Oh my god.
yeah,
Yes, the Lord of the, where it's like a giant D&D campaign.
Yeah.
And he's
So
like, I'm a
good.
huge fan of the movies. Don't think I don't like the movies, but this is what it would be if it was D&D.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
It's so good.
And that, like, doesn't, like, in that, like, the guy who played Boromir still wanted to play, so he became Gollum.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's why Gollum wants the ring so bad. And he's like, I still want the ring, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
So we are getting towards the end of the podcast.
Yeah.
I have one that's kind of a part A, part B,
Okay.
but it's only a sentence each. Here is something
Go
that
for it.
happens all the time, whether or not you're a veteran player or a new player. It happens a lot when you're a new player because you're still trying to figure out mechanically what your character can do. However, I have a rule set in place that applies even to new characters. You have a 1 minute of deciding tactics between combat rounds, with little discussion between turns. Now, note the wording. Combat rounds. You have 1 minute before the next round of combat begins, where all the players and all the NPCs, like, it cycles back over again. You have 60 seconds to decide what you're going to do as a party. After that 60 seconds, everything starts again. Now, between turns, between, this person's initiative and that person's initiative, you can have very little discussion, but not full-blown planning and tactics and like all this other stuff, because that tends to happen and it bogs down combat and it bogs down the game, where people think that they can have like an entire TED talk in between combat turns.
Yeah.
And that's kind of annoying. So this is where the part 2 comes in. You must declare your actions quickly, or otherwise your character will default to the dodge action and your turn will be skipped. So I know it sounds kind of cruel, but I mean, it's better than your character just sitting there and not getting the dodge action. At least with a dodge action, you have the ability to dodge. You have advantages on being attacked.
Yeah.
But it forces your characters and your players to be like, time is really moving. We really need to decide what we're doing.
Yeah. Listen, man, combat drags sometimes.
Oh my God, does it?
So having a mechanic like that just makes things just so much more smooth. And to have a mechanic like that too, like there's always that classic players never think about what they want to do until it's their turn.
Correct.
And then they're like, So it eliminates that classic player,
like a trope.
Yeah, trope.
Yeah.
There you go.
It definitely is a trope, especially with people who have, like, I've seen some modern D&D character sheets that people share, and they have spreadsheets of different fucking abilities that they can do. Actual spreadsheets, dude, because they'll take stuff from this book, from that book, from this book, from that book, the optional rules for fighters or druids from this book and from that book and from all these different compendiums and all this other shit. And they have 2 additional character sheets just so they could fit all the like new things that they can do. I mean, it's a bit of an exaggeration, but like, I don't know, man. I remember when we started 5th edition, it was like, you're a wizard, cast a spell.
Yeah,
You're
literally.
a fighter, swing your sword. You're a druid, like, do a druid thing. Like when I made Zod, the goblin warlock.
Yeah.
You remember when I was able to summon like Cthulhu tendrils from the ground and do all that stuff? That was from one material book that I owned that I could do that. And there are other material books that give you even more things for a warlock to summon and weird wacky shit that they can do.
Yeah.
This forces you to look hard at your character sheet and be like, when it's my turn, I'm going to do this. Rather than, like you said, the trope.
Yeah.
I don't know and then that's when the discussion starts, right? When they're deciding what they want to do, now they're asking the other players, hey, what does your whatever look like? What is X for you? Why, what is Y for this person? No, you can't do that. Make a
And then it
decision.
drags.
Yeah, and then it drags
Go.
on.
Yep.
Do your thing, or you will default to a dodge action because your character froze up in the heat of battle.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
I would even use that as like if I've said that multiple times, like, hey guys, you guys are taking too long in combat. Can you speed it up a little bit? Like, can you like think about, and like if they've done it multiple times, it's like, okay, new mechanic.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yep.
Here we go. Let's try this out. And if they all hate it, it's like, okay, well then like can
Then-
you just now like just like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
They
just,
go
like-
fast.
Yeah, can you like play your characters? Can you? Yeah.
No, I like that.
So
That's
that is mine. That is what I use.
I like that. That's a good one. All right, very nice. Good one there, Stavi. Mike, you got one final one?
Yeah, and it's a very thematic one. Not very rules. Well, I guess rulesy, but not harsh. Personally, in my games, I reskin everything. So if there's like something you want to play that's not in a book, we could just reskin an orc, or like reskin a dwarf if it's similar. For like magic, if you want a water whip instead of a thorn whip, we'll just make thorn whip water whip. As long as it doesn't break the feel of the spell, all of a sudden, like, not adding anything really. I have no problem changing the element or changing the damage type of a spell, as long as, like, rules-wise it does the same thing. Even sort of like Fireball. Like, if you don't want it to be a ball of fire, you want it to be, like, a condensed ball of air that does cold damage, or, like, steam, or, like, a giant boulder that you shoot that explodes. Like, I don't care. As long as it does what the spell says it does, I have no problem reskinning it. Because otherwise, every class and every spell is the same. Like, two wizards in the group are going to be the same people.
Yeah, so like as long as it does like the same amount of damage and maybe like the same amount of like maybe it has pushback or something. Like as long as it does that, you can make it whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, I believe in 3rd edition, there used to be a feat that magic users can take. I forgot the name of it. It might have been like thematic spellcasting or something similar. And all it did was it let you reskin your spells. So if you wanted your fireball, instead of look like a ball of fire, look like a screaming skull with fucking bat wings, you can. If you wanted like your lightning bolt to be like, a stampede of like lightning horses or something, you can. Like, I don't know why people just can't do that. So that's why I just encourage my players, just reskin your stuff. Your fireball doesn't have to look like that. If you want it to look like, your dead lost husband, like running at people and like exploding, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly don't care.
How do you handle like when you do that? Do you only allow them to do that upon character creation, or do you allow them to change the theme of their spells like mid-game once their character is already established? Because my concern is, if you're fighting somebody, like let's say you're fighting like a fire elemental, and then all of a sudden your character's like, oh, I want to change the theme of my fireball to ice ball.
Oh, no. It's not on the fly whatsoever.
Oh, okay.
It's not on the fly whatsoever. So if, like, when they take the spell, like, say if they want to make, like, a sorcerer who's, a waterbender, but there's not a lot of water spells, and they want, instead of acid splash, maybe, like, boiling water or something. When they take that spell, they can thematically reskin it, but it's now the new name, and just in parentheses, just tell me what it's reskinned so I know what it is, and we're good. They can't change it on the fly, because that would make it way too versatile, and they'd kill everything.
Yeah. No, that's cool, though. I'm a big fan of that. I'd picture, like, magic missiles, instead of being, like, these little purple or whatever blue beams of, like, little energy that do, what is it, bludgeoning? I think magic missiles.
Force, I think.
Oh, force damage? Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you can have them instead be, when you first take the spell, you change it from force to bludgeoning, or from force to piercing or something. Maybe they have so much velocity that they're able to actually pierce through things.
Yeah, I wouldn't even mind if they were like, oh, can it just do like minor fire damage, and like call the spell, instead of magic missiles, called it like kindles or like sparks or something, and I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
As long as it does the same damage.
Like magic ember.
And I know, call it like ember swarm or something. which sounds like a Pokemon maneuver. But either way, if they want to
It
do
really
that,
does.
if they want to do that, that's fine. It's not. I could adjust things accordingly.
That's cool. I'm a
And
fan of that.
the thing is,
Yeah.
and since I allow it for the players, though, they're very aware that whatever I allow for the players, I allow for the NPCs as well.
Oh, for
So
sure.
Yeah.
they might fight other things and the same thing goes for weapons. Like if someone wants like a giant bladed fan or something, it could just be a two-handed sword. You know what I mean? And just reskin a two-handed sword. It's a fan. And if they're like, well, what if I want to throw it? I'm like, it's too big. Leave me alone. Like, you know what I mean? I'm letting you make it a fan. What do you want from me?
Yeah, and I really like the roleplay aspect to it too, because it's like you're right, like the water spell, for example, like yeah, like I really want to be this kind of character, like, and I really want to like hone in on this like specific type of element or something like that. Being able to change it up like that is really cool. I'm actually I'm playing a pyromancer sorcerer right now, and I wanted him to be completely enthralled with fire, and I was trying to find spells at level 1 that really, hearken to that whole fire aspect. And I hated it because I was like, man, I thought there was like a bunch of cool fire spells, and like there's fire bolt, but then there's
That's
Wall of Fire. Do you have that?
not yet.
Oh, right.
but then there's like create bonfire, and I was like, well, I'm going full commitment, so I guess I'm just gonna be able to create a lot of bonfires. So that's cool,
Dude, it really is like RuneScape. Then you're just losing a fucking line of bonfires all the way through Lumbridge.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's a really cool idea, and I would actually love to have that in that game I'm playing. That's great.
Yeah,
That
like
really is
why
great.
can't Shocking Grasp take out the advantage if someone's wearing metal and make it fire and call it like, Scorching Touch or something. And
Right.
it's
Yeah.
the
Maybe
same
it has
spell.
advantage on people who don't wear armor. For
Yeah,
less
if they're not
damage.
wearing armor, or if they're wearing like hide or no armor, and then you have advantage because it's closer to their skin.
Right.
Like it's just reskinned. It's basically the same, and it would make you unique, but not so unique that like, two angels had to like, have sex to have you born. Like you're just a little unique.
Yeah. You have quirks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like your quirks. It's what you're known for. So if someone sees that, they know it was you. You're the only one who does that.
That's cool. I like
Mhm.
that. Very cool.
Well, I think we might be down to Captain Cannoli here.
Oh
What
yeah.
you got,
While
Cannoli?
the sun is setting over the vast sea that is in
Yes.
front of this beautiful island.
Yes, as we wrap up and try to attempt to make some type of settlement before the zombies come.
What zombies?
What? Anyway, I'm gonna keep this one super simple and super basic. So this is a rule that I've been playing for over probably about 10 years now, been DMing for about a year, and for some reason I never knew this rule existed in the first place. And I just recently found out about this a couple months ago, and something I always racked my brain around, and something I just don't really agree with for a certain reason. Attunement cap. Attunement item cap.
Oh.
So you can wear as many magic items as you want, right? But apparently, you can only wear up to 3 magical items that require attunement. I don't really agree with that rule. I think, as a DM, if I'm giving a magical item to you, I want you to use it, right? Like I want you to be able to use that item and equip it and have fun with it and do whatever, especially at higher levels. When you start getting that kind of power gaming mode where it's like you are becoming gods, like I want you to become gods at like level 20. Like, of course, like use all these items, like go crazy.
Right.
I want you to be able to do that. Like, I don't want to give you an item and be like, well, now you got to switch around and do it. Nah, screw that. Like, I want you to use these items. I think like a magic item cap is, I don't know, maybe not necessary, honestly. You know what I mean?
So would you be okay with like somebody wearing like a magic cap and like a magic cloak and magic gauntlets and magic boots and with a magic cuirass, with a magic sword and magic rings, with a magic belt and like a magic, like if they went full head to toe, every magic underwear that cleaned itself no matter how many times you were pissed drunk, like, you know, like.
Well, that's the thing. That would have been my fault as a DM.
Right.
I would have definitely had, that would have been my fault. I would have allowed that. So, at low levels, hell no.
Oh yeah, of course.
Absolutely not.
Of course.
You're not getting your first magical item plus 1 item until you're at least level 5. Absolutely not.
Well, luckily, a lot of the bonuses don't stack.
True.
Like, you could only have 1 item. You could only have 1 natural armor bonus. You could only have 1 shield bonus. You could only have 1 armor bonus.
Right.
So, like,
Right.
if you had multiple things that gave you, like, a +1, and it says it gave you +1 deflection bonus, they don't stack.
Yeah.
So,
right.
hopefully that limits, you know, the glowing god coming down the street.
Yeah. and some of them are just like a skill. Like you get advantage at a skill, or maybe you jump farther with a certain type of boots,
or you literally become a dwarf.
Or yeah, exactly. Belt of the Dwarven kind. Let's go.
Quick shadow.
But I mean, I don't know. Am I wrong to say that? I don't know. I feel like an attunement cap is.
No, I don't think you're wrong, dude. Like, it's your game, and if you want higher levels to be completely and utterly insanely fucking broken, where your players are gods and they're just crushing mountains and like literally killing pantheons, fucking go for it, dude.
Yeah. Right.
You know, that's all based on the flavor of the game. And if the game is a power fantasy where you just want like these giant Conan the Barbarian, but less sword and sorcery, more on the sorcery side.
Yeah.
You know, behemoths just going around just absolutely wrecking shit. No, I agree. Even if you were to play more of like a low fantasy kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
That would actually excuse people to want to wear all of the magic items anyway because of how rare they are in the game world itself.
Right.
You know, if I find a magic helm in some ancient king's tomb, and beside the helm was a pair of gauntlets and his magic sword and his signet ring, which also happened to be magic, like, I'm wearing all that shit. You're not going to tell me I can't. The fuck? We just went through like 3 minotaurs. I'm wearing this.
Yeah, exactly.
So no, I can understand like attuning is probably very like mentally and energetically for the human body or character body like demanding.
Yeah.
You know, maybe there's like some kind of lore to that says like to attune requires quite a lot of, you know what I mean? I don't know. I think fuck it.
Yeah, I usually only use attunement for like super rare items or like artifact or story items. Like,
oh, so you don't even
know,
use like attunement for like normal magical items that you would normally see.
No, at a certain point. Well, I also don't like give a lot of magic items like out, and if I do, they're wondrous and like thematic, like, oh, this brush changes the color of your hair. But like, no, it just doesn't feel very, I don't know, narratively pleasing to me that like every time you find something in like a dungeon, you have to like sit at night and friggin' roll it through your fingertips like Schmeagol and like hope. Like, no, like it's you should be able to put it on.
I agree.
Yeah. Or you know, maybe you have like a spellcaster or something that is like attuned to Arcana, and like maybe it's like some type of magic that he could sense, and maybe, you know, him looking at it for an hour could tell you, or you just put it on your finger and see what the hell happens, you know,
right?
Like,
and
you know, like,
or alternatively,
yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say alternatively, if you have somebody who is Arcana or are magically inclined. Yeah, that's the word. You could just have them do an Arcana check and be like, and that Arcana check could be like, yeah, you're attuned now. You know, like it doesn't have to be anything. You could be like, oh, you're aware of like the limits and the bounds of this magical item. You know that like if wielded uncontrollably by the user, these are the effects that could potentially happen.
Yeah,
like, you know, if level 1 character finds a magic ring and there's no magic users and they can't identify magic or figure out what this ring is, and they put it on, they're like, oh fuck it, you know, it's glowing, it's vibrating, it's humming, I can hear it, like let's just see what happens. And then like it's like a ring of binding and now it's trapped on them and they can't take it off, and it's like a curse item, and it's like, oh fuck.
Yeah. Oh no.
And also like attunement eliminates those scenes and like stories where like the hero is like left for dead in like an ancient catacombs, and the dead are risen, and he like sees like, you know, the burial like mound of an old king, and he grabs his sword and he's able to kill the you know, the ghosts. If the ghosts are coming and he grabs the sword, he's like, "Can you guys wait one night? Like,
Yeah,
just wait
right.
like a long rest so I know how to
Give me
use this properly." Like,
Yeah.
You guys play like Parcheesi or something? You guys want to like hang for like a long rest while I figure this thing out?
Yeah, let me just figure this
yeah,
out.
I need like
Yeah.
I need like a good 8 hours to just look at this.
Yeah,
I mean,
So
maybe I'm just blind to the lore of attunement, but I don't know. I just
rule of cool, dude.
oh no,
yeah.
yeah, there's
Rule
no
of cool.
lore. It's one of those mechanics put into games to stop power gamers. It's
Sure.
a gaming.
Yeah.
It's a gaming
It's
rule.
a safety net. That's all that is.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a safety
But-
net. It's a very gamey rule.
I like Mike's description of being like in this tombed Left 4 Dead, and you pull out like this sword, and it's like a flash of light and like this shing, and you know, like all the
Yeah.
dead kind of like recoil back from like the power of this holy sword that you had no idea had magical properties, and you're like, fuck, I'm about to destroy all of you.
I'm about to kill you all.
I'm about to.
Yeah, but like if we do that scene with the rules, it'll be like shing, and they're like, we gotta get him in 8 hours. We're dead. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Quickly get him while he's attuning.
Yeah, please, let's run around for 8 hours, please.
I'm picturing like the skeletons that talk in Evil Dead 2. Army of Darkness, not Evil Dead 2. Yeah. But yeah.
don't let him sound out the inscription on the blade. Meh.
Yeah. Klaatu Verata Necktie.
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 Haha, luckily he's an idiot.
Why did like old 80s skeletons always have that voice in like fantasy or you know, movies like that?
I don't know.
Everyone's like,
Probably
"Nyeh."
Skeletor.
I think-
It's literally
I
Skeletor.
think it's because of Skeletor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, you're
Because
absolutely
Skeletor was
right.
like, "You bumbling buffoon!"
Yeah. God, that was good.
That
It-
was really good.
It's so weird because they all do that. Like, if you go back and you play like EverQuest, like the first EverQuest, even the skeletons in that game laugh like Skeletor.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, Skeletor is iconic. Like, so I guess they all just. That's what happens when you don't have a tongue. You're just like,
Hey, He-Man! Like, I kind of want. I'm just gonna make like a campaign where it's just nothing but skeletons that talk like that, but they all sound identical, so nobody knows who's talking.
Skeleton 2 says.
Who said that? Who said what?
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 Well, speaking of attuning, Walter is looking at me, so I'm gonna go ahead and get off this beach with him. It's getting dark. You mentioned zombies before.
Yeah.
I'm not. No, I'm taking Walter, and we're gonna go find a cave now.
Oh, you know what I just remembered from our previous episode for Yulmus. I got the freaking folding boat.
Oh, then why the hell
Dude, I
are we
could
on
just-
this island?
Yeah, I could just fold this boat and we can get the hell out of here.
What have we been sitting here
Oh.
waiting for rescue for then?
Well, I don't know. I just, I've had some friends around me and it's been really nice.
Oh
Just-
my god.
I don't know.
Mike,
It's-
we've spent the entire day on this island, and Dan could have gotten us off with just his boat.
guys, we have like nicknames now. It's like we're real friends now. It's,
Gumbo has tan lines.
Gumbo
Oh,
has
hell no.
bikini lines, dude. At least
Ooh, look
Yeah.
at him.
At least Gumbo's got like the better deal out of this. I'm gonna take these robes off at one point, and it's just gonna be robe lines.
Oh yeah, just straight up robe lines.
It's just robe lines, dude.
Oh man.
Can you take the boat out? Can we leave?
Yeah, let's get the hell out of
Don't
here.
let them attune to the volleyball.
Who
Here
said
they
that?
come. Let's get out of
Oh
here.
God, no!
Don't let them get on the boat.
No,
No,
run.
don't forget Gumbo.
Get Gumbo, run.
I got him. Come on, Gumbo.
And so the three adventurers sailed off into the sunset, not knowing what adventures await them in the next episode of Crithalla.
Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful.
in my head, I saw like a next time on Crithalla, and it's like next time, you were my brother, I loved you. No, and then Gumbo's there with like with a dwarven beard, and he's like, I stole your belt. No.
In the background, you just see a bunch of orcs playing volleyball, getting slowly eaten by zombies. It's terrible.
Yeah, it's a bad scene, man.
It's just a bad scene, but we're happy.
Yeah, we're
all
good. Yeah, we're fine.
Yeah, we're good.
Well, thank you guys so much for checking out the first episode of the Crithalla Podcast of 2023.
Woo!
Remember, we have so many things. First of all, we have the brand new show coming out in just a few weeks, Talking Tabletop. I don't know who's going to be starting off that, but make sure you look on, check out our social media for possible hints of our very first game we're going to be talking about. You can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, and soon we will have an Instagram going up soon. I'm still working on that. But Facebook and Twitter, you can find us at Crithalla, D&D Memes. We also, again, have our YouTube channel that you can check out the video version of this podcast. We also post things like top 10s, storytime videos, reviews of products and such that we love to use in our tabletop games stuff. Yeah. But yeah, that's Crithalla. Stavi, you got any plugs?
Yeah. So because of shipping errors over the holiday season of 2022, a lot of the Kickstarters that I had backed were delayed a couple of weeks. So a few things did come in. Hopefully you guys have checked out the Old School Essentials, like 1 hour long or 2 hour long, whatever it was, like endurance video of me flipping through all those pages, because there's a lot to unpack in that video, and they're awesome. All the things in there are awesome. I highly recommend you check that out. But we have other things that are still coming down the pipeline. We have things that have arrived that I have not had a chance to make a video on yet. So I'm primarily just going to be like the review guy for all of these Kickstarter things and like other tabletop rule books. I may even start getting into potentially some wargaming core rule books. Believe it or not, there is more things out there than just like Warhammer or Warcry or Kill Team or any of those other things, like, or even the Lord of the Rings one, which is actually really dope. I recommend that. But I kind of have a back catalog of stuff that I want to get through, and hopefully those will start popping up whenever I have time to actually like film those and edit those and upload those to YouTube. So stay tuned to that, and I'm sure you'll get updated on that stuff through Crithalla's social media stuff.
Absolutely. Very nice.
Yeah.
Mike, you got any plugs for us today?
You know, whenever you say that, I literally look at my mic going, oh, man.
Here we go again.
He's going to ask again. Pretty much, he's going to do it again. Pretty much the same. Not so much unboxings, because I don't even know if I have patience for that, so God bless you, Stavi. And I'm working on some narrative videos talking about stories. Might be doing a story time series with Gumbo. That's in the process. He's a little finicky sometimes, and he gets a little cranky. But
yeah,
you know,
Gabbing
if I can
with
get him
Gumbo.
on a good schedule, you know,
Gabbing with Gumbo.
Gabbing
That's
with-
wonderful.
Gabbing with Gumbo. You heard it first here. But yeah, a lot of just story, narrative-driven audio and clips and things like that. So fingers crossed.
Very nice.
Very cool.
Well, all right, cool. Well, thank you guys so much for checking out the Crithalla Podcast. Make sure you stay tuned for in a couple weeks. We'll be doing the very first episode of Talking Tabletop. My name is Ol Skitflack, and we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Haha! I snuck on the boat.
Oh, no!